Hey folks, what's up? This is Adam here at County Synagogue. Welcome to the Movie Vault. We're in the Christmas season now. Many people say we're not really into the Christmas season because it's still November. But I'm in the Christmas spirit mood, and just like in the time when I reviewed the first Home Alone movie, I feel that exact same way again. And I've just got done watching Home Alone 2 moments ago, and I thought to myself, how I want to review this movie just like I did with the first movie, while I'm in that spirit, you know what I mean? So that's today's movie review, Home Alone 2, which came out in the year of 1992. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Now, right off the bat, I'll say this about Home Alone 2, it's a decent sequel. Okay. It's a decent sequel, however, with that being said, it is copying the first movie in so many different ways, but I'm not putting the movie down. There's a lot of people that love this movie. There's a lot of people that prefer this movie over the first one. And if you do, that's fair play. In my opinion, I think the first movie is better. But I do like this movie also. Like I said, I just got done watching this movie moments ago, and yes, I still laughed. I still thought the movie had that great Christmas spirit to it. It was funny, it was entertaining, and it was nice to see again. I mean, although I've seen this movie countless times, just like the first movie, I said in the first movie review that I wore the tape out so many times on VHS. With Home Alone 2, I did the exact same thing. When I was a kid, I was always constantly watching Home Alone, even in summertime, you know what I mean? It didn't have to be just because it was Christmas, that was the only time to watch this movie. It's a great movie to watch all year round. The movie has a nice charm to it, and one thing that was a huge plus factor is that they brought back the old cast to be in Home Alone 2. Macaulay Culkin comes back to play Kevin McAllister, Joe Pesci, Daniel Stern, John Hurd, Catherine. They all come back. And another plus is Tim Curry is in this movie playing the hotel manager. Of course, Tim Curry, as we all know, played Pennywise in Stephen King's It. Plus many other roles as well. But I'm a man remembering from this movie and Stephen King's It. Although he has been in so many different other roles. So, the first movie made a ton of money. That it was unbelievable. But the studio was like, you have to make a sequel. And you think to yourself, how can you make a sequel to Home Alone? Is it one of those movies that needed a franchise? Is it one of those movies that even needs a sequel? I mean, you could have got away with just the first movie being a standalone movie. You didn't have to make sequels and turn this into a big franchise. Well, sadly that was the case. They made this movie, they made Home Alone 3, Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House, Home Alone 5, The Holiday Heist, and Home Sweet Home Alone, and all that bollocks, And I hope I don't have to review those movies, but if I have to, so be it. But let's talk about the positive ones. The first two movies. The first two movies are the only best ones in the franchise, in my opinion. Okay. So, like I said, the studio are like, you got to make a sequel. And the title of this movie is so misled when it says Home Alone, because he's not home anymore. This time he's lost in New York City. And it even says that in the title, Lost in New York. So that's a positive note. He's lost in New York, but he's not really home alone because he's not at home. So that's one little difference. So we'll make it like the first movie, but here let's add a few slight changes. And a lot of people say this movie is essentially the first movie made again. And even in an interview, Macaulay Culkin even admitted that, although he liked Home Alone 2 a lot more than the first movie, he did say this was like the first movie in so many different ways, but there were so many dibs and dabs of stuff that they altered just a little bit. I mean, for example, take the opening for example. The McAllister family is in chaos yet again because they're all in one big running around situation to try and pack for their vacation. Only like the first one was in Paris, this time it's in Florida. Okay. And so that's copy one. Copy two is that it's Buzz and Kevin having another situation again where Kevin is in the attic wishing to be home alone again. Only this time you get more mad at the McAllister family, at least I do, because at least in the first movie it was over a pizza. Kevin pushed Buzz, the milkshake went all over the plane tickets. Where in this movie, it was at a school play, and Buzz is making fun of Kevin on stage with the lights behind his ears and trying to make fun of him. And the family can clearly tell it was Buzz's fault this time. And Buzz does like a fake apology. The family fall for it. Kevin gets pissed off and he wishes to be alone yet again. And there's that little situation with his mother in the attic where he says, I hope I'm alone again. I hope I'll get my wish like I did last year. Being home alone again without my family. And I don't want my family around me anymore. I want to be alone again. But my argument there is the family clearly knew it was Buzz's fault this time. You know, it was Buzz's fault the first time. And it was his fault the second time. Only that second time they fell for a fake apology. Because Buzz is like, beat that, you little trout sniffer. You know, and everyone falls for his lies. And then, copy 3. They're late to catch their plane again. Only that Kevin accompanies them this time, and instead of being left at home, he's at the airport, and he mistakes this other guy for being his dad because he's wearing the same coat, and he boards the wrong flight. The family board the flight to Florida. He boards the flight to New York. But he's got his dad's bag with him, full of belongings, credit cards, cash, etc. Okay. The McAllister family doesn't discover that he's not with them until they pick up their luggage. When Kevin realises he's in New York, he has the time of his life. You know, he's taking pictures, he's going shopping, he's exploring New York City all on his own. There's even a great touching scene, you know, where he goes on the Twin Towers and, you know, enjoying Christmas, you know, and he even checks in at the Plaza Hotel, you know, with his talk boy, you know, talking into a different language, like a grown-up language. And he used his father's credit card to check in at the Plaza Hotel. That plays a factor later on because they detect the card to find out where Kevin actually is. Nice little idea. Okay. What else is there? So throughout the whole film, it's about the McAllister family trying to find out where Kevin is. And then when they find out in New York, they're on one big trip to go to New York to try and find him. Kevin at the same time, well, throughout the whole film, it's expressing more charm to Kevin. Because there's even a scene in this film where he goes to Duncan's toy chest, a toy store, and he donates money for the charity. He gives away lots of money for the charity because he feels for the kids who are going to be sick at Christmas for the Children's Hospital. And in the meantime, the Wet Bandits escape from prison. They come out of the back of a fish van, and now they're called the Sticky Bandits. You know, and they're looking for phony passports to try and go to a different country. Coincidentally, in this large city known as New York City, one of the biggest cities in the world, them and Kevin end up crossing over, and they want to get their revenge. You know, in the meantime, Tim Curry is like concerned that Kevin's staying in his hotel all by himself without an adult. And there's even some funny situations where Tim Curry's character encounters strange things like whether it's the clown blow-up doll in the shower. Get out of here, you nose little pervert, or I'll knock you silly. You know, there's scenes like that. There's another nice charm with copying from Angels from Dirty Souls, the gangster movie. Only instead of tricking the pizza boy in the first movie, it was the hotel group. It was called Angels with Even Dirtier Souls, and there's a hotel shooting scene, you know. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me. So there's some funny parts in this movie. I admit they're funny. Still got a major kick out of this movie when it comes to the comedy, and I still get a kick out of it to this very day. Harry and Marv kidnap Kevin, but there's a scene where Kevin gets away because he pinches a girl's arse, and she ends up punching Harry and Marv, and he ends up fleeing. You know, so you can really tell in this movie that they didn't have a whole lot of ideas to go with in terms of a sequel. I mean, the situations here and there where they're thinking to themselves, what can we do next? What can we do next? I know what we can do. We can make Kevin befriend the Pigeon Lady. So another Pigeon Lady is another character that they had. A woman where she's covered with pigeons, and she plays a huge part for later on in the film. You know, where he gets kidnapped by Harry and Marv. You know, so the plus factors about this movie is it's a Christmassy movie. You know, all the streets are Christmas lit up, and they've got the Christmas songs playing. All I Want for Christmas Is You. well, no, not that song. All I want for Christmas is you. I gotta know. You know, that song where Kevin goes onto the Twin Towers and that kind of thing. You know, so now the important factor of this movie is, I think, when the studios asked him in the sequel, how are you going to make this movie similar to the first movie but add differences when it comes to the trap scene? Because Kevin can't be home alone because he's in New York. So they pitched this idea about Kevin's father having a brother, an uncle, who lives in New York. And when Kevin goes to the house, it's all abandoned. And he uses that house to set the traps for Harry and Marv, because Harry and Marv are now planning on robbing Duncan's toy chest to steal all the children's charity money. They even hide out in the store in toy houses to rob the store, you know, and Kevin throws a brick through the window to try and lead him all the way to the house. And while this is happening, Kevin's mum is like going through New York City to try and find Kevin, basically. Now, the traps in this movie were funny, but they were more cartoony, in my opinion. I mean, there were situations in the first movie where you would have easily been dead, you know, like the blowtorch blowing on Harry's head. Here, the same thing, similar thing happens, only that Harry's head gets caught on fire and he dips his head in a toilet full of petrol. Now, that would kill you instantly. That'll fucking blow your fucking brains out. Okay? There's another scene, you know, where Marv's been electrocuted, you know, and he turns into a skeleton, you know, for shits and giggles. But you'd be dead. You've been electrocuted that much, you'd be dead. You know, there's so many far-fetched traps in this scene. So, in my opinion, the traps in this movie are a little bit more far-fetched, more cartoony. It's like when the tool chest is falling down the stairs and Harry and Marv go straight into the wall, you know, very unrealistic-like, but hey, it's shits and giggles, it's a comedy film, it's not meant to be taken seriously, I understand that. But there's so many times where you're looking at the traps in this movie, and although you laugh at them, you think to yourself, you know, that was kind of dumb, you know, but you still get a kick out of this movie every time you watch the trap scene. I mean, that's the main thing that we look forward to the Home Alone movies. It's the kid outsmarting the burglars yet again with all these unique trap ideas. You know what I mean? Like I say, the brick scene where Kevin's throwing the bricks from the top of the roof onto Marv. Daniel Stern's doing a fantastic job to try and make the audience laugh with all the noises he keeps making. You know, when the bricks are falling off the rooftop. So Daniel Stern especially does a fantastic job, and he's having the time of his life. All the characters are having fun in this movie, you can tell, just like the first movie. Like I say, Macaulay Culkin played Kevin to a T in this movie. You know, just like in the first movie, he had the charm, he wasn't annoying or anything like that. It was great to see him in the same way how he was in the first movie. Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci were having fun yet again with their roles as Harry and Marv. Tim Curry had a charm to him, and he was good at being funny with his facial expressions and the way he was. I like that little idea how it takes place in the park, in New York City Park, where the pigeon lady throws the pigeon food onto the burglars, Harry and Marv, and all the pigeons attack them. Kevin sets off fireworks to trap the police to the park to arrest Harry and Marv. And then sooner or later, Kevin's reunited with his mother again after when he's wishing at the Christmas tree to be with his family again. And it ends happily, you know, with the family celebrating Christmas with loads of presents. And Kevin gives the pigeon lady a turtle dove, you know, so that they're friends forever. And it ends with, instead of Buzz going, Kevin, what you do to my room? It's Kevin's father saying, Kevin, you spent $167 on room service, or something like that. I can't remember the exact amount it was, but Kevin ordered loads of room service and his dad was shouting at the bill, and then the credits roll. So, when you're watching Home Alone 2, right off the bat, when you're watching Home Alone 2, you have fun. It's a good movie, it's a solid sequel. You could tell so much that it was copied just like the first movie, but just made slightly little iterations into the movie to making it seem different. You know, instead of Paris, it's Florida. Angels with dirty souls. Angels with dirtier souls. Kevin and Buzz bickering. Kevin wishing he was alone. traps to set up the bad guys. You know, it's sort of like a repeat of the first movie. And I agree with Macaulay Culkin when he says this is essentially the first movie made again. You know, I agree with him when he says that. But without that being said, it's a solid sequel. I really enjoyed it. Although I like the first movie a little bit more by a pinch of salt, I still get a kick out of this movie. I arguably say that the first movie has possibly got to be one of the best Christmas movies of all time. And the second movie, although I don't think it's as good as the first movie, and it's essentially so similar, I still think it was a solid sequel, and I do get my kicks out of it. After when you watch the first Home Alone movie, you really want to watch the second one, you know, just to see what happens with the characters and things like that. So, that's my only little complaint about Home Alone 2. The only little complaint I've got that is it's so similar to the first movie. That's my only little downfall about it, you know what I mean? But still love the movie. Seen it countless times. The first two movies are definitely the best ones in the franchise. They don't get any better from here, unfortunately, and that's the way it is. So, thanks for watching this, everybody. Please leave a comment below and give me your thoughts about what you think about Home Alone 2 Lost in New York. Love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching this, everybody. Peace out. Have a Merry Christmas.